upset. Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that affects every single one of us, your health. Not tomorrow, upset. Not next year, but right now, because the truth is, health doesn't happen by accident. It's a choice, upset. And every choice you make, what you eat, when you eat, upset. How much you sleep is either moving you toward health or pulling you away from it. When it comes to health, upset. Most people think it is something that either happens to them or is controlled by outside forces like genetics, doctors, or luck, upset. But the truth is, health is not an accident. It is the direct result of the daily choices you make, upset, whether you are aware of them or not. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed, upset. You are building or breaking your health. There is no neutral zone. Each meal, each sip of a drink, upset. Each hour of sleep or missed sleep is either nudging your body toward strength and vitality or pushing it toward weakness and dysfunction, upset. Think about what happens when you decide to have a sugary snack in the afternoon. That isn't just a harmless indulgence, upset. It spikes your blood sugar, which then spikes your insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone, and when it is elevated too often, upset. Your body gets locked into fat storage mode and out of fat burning mode. Repeat that pattern day after day, upset. And suddenly you are dealing with weight gain, cravings, and fatigue. On the other hand, upset. When you choose a handful of nuts or some vegetables instead, you are giving your body fuel without overstimulating insulin, upset. That small choice sets off a completely different cascade of effects inside your body. Multiply that by weeks, months, and years, upset. And you can see how powerful one decision is. Health doesn't suddenly collapse overnight, upset. The chronic conditions we hear about so often, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, obesity, are not random events, upset. They are the result of accumulated choices compounded over time. The same goes for positive outcomes, upset. People who seem to age gracefully stay sharp, upset. And keep their energy high are usually the ones who made consistent decisions to prioritize sleep, eat real foods, upset, and keep stress under control. It's not magic, it's the mathematics of daily habits, upset. What's encouraging is that the body is highly adaptive. Even if you've been making poor choices for years, upset. The moment you shift directions, your body begins to respond. The liver can start repairing, upset. Insulin sensitivity can begin to improve, inflammation can come down, and energy can return. This process doesn't take decades, upset. For many, small adjustments show noticeable results in a matter of weeks, upset. That means the idea that health is out of your hands simply isn't true. You don't need a perfect plan, upset. You just need to begin making choices that align with how the body is designed to function, upset. Consider how often people outsource their health. They think the doctor will fix it, upset. Or the next medication will balance things out, or that genetics have sealed their fate, upset. While medical care has an important place, upset. Relying solely on external fixes while ignoring your daily patterns is like trying to mop up water from a sink that is still running, upset. You have to turn off the faucet first. The faucet, in this case, is the lifestyle you control: your food, your stress, upset. Your sleep, your movement. These are not minor details, they are the foundation. So when you eat, move, or rest, upset. Ask yourself whether this choice is building health or breaking it. That simple shift in perspective makes the invisible visible, upset. Suddenly, the donut in the break room is not just a snack, it's a decision that will affect your energy later, upset. Your hormones tomorrow and your weight weeks from now. The walk after dinner is not just light exercise, upset. It's a choice that helps stabilize blood sugar, reduce stress, and promote better sleep, upset. Each of these seemingly small moments adds up. The key is to stop thinking of health as something separate from daily life. Upset. It is not a project you start when you get sick or when you feel like it. It is woven into the fabric of everyday upset, whether you participate consciously or not. Once you accept that, you stop waiting for the perfect time, upset, and you begin to take responsibility today. Because the truth is, health is not an accident. It is built choice by choice, upset, moment by moment, and the builder is you. When people think about what is damaging their health, many point to fat, calories, upset, or even genetics, but the real hidden enemy for most is sugar and refined carbohydrates, upset. These substances have been normalized in our daily diets to the point where we don't even realize how much damage they cause. Upset. They are everywhere in sodas, pastries, cereals, bread, pasta, sauces, dressings, even so-called healthy energy bars. Upset. The problem isn't just that they add empty calories. The deeper issue is what they do to the body's chemistry, upset, particularly to insulin, the hormone that manages blood sugar. When you consume sugar or refined carbs like white bread or pasta, upset. They break down rapidly into glucose. This causes your blood sugar to rise quickly. Your body sees this surge as dangerous, upset. So it releases insulin to bring the levels back down. That sounds good, but here's the catch, upset. When this process is repeated day after day, year after year, the cells stop responding to insulin properly, upset. This is called insulin resistance, and it is at the root of many modern health problems, upset, from weight gain to type 2 diabetes to fatty liver, upset. The constant roller coaster of blood sugar spikes and crashes leaves people exhausted, irritable, and craving more sugar, upset, which starts the cycle all over again. One of the most misleading ideas is that eating sugar simply gives you quick energy, upset. While it's true that sugar gives a short burst, what follows is a steep crash. That crash doesn't just leave you tired, upset. It also tricks your brain into thinking you need more food right away, upset. This is why people can eat a big carb, heavy meal and feel hungry only a few hours later, upset. The body is being tricked into constant hunger, even though there's plenty of stored energy sitting in fat cells, upset. But because insulin is so high, the body cannot access that fat for fuel. You feel drained and compelled to eat again, upset, usually reaching for the very foods that caused the problem in the first place, upset. Another issue with refined carbs is how addictive they are. Sugar lights up the same pleasure centers in the brain as drugs do, upset, which explains why people struggle to cut back even when they know it's harming them, upset. Food companies understand this and intentionally design products with the perfect balance of sugar, salt, upset, and fat to keep you hooked. It's not a lack of willpower that makes people overeat processed carbs, upset. It's the biology of addiction mixed with clever marketing. The damage from sugar goes beyond weight and energy, upset. Excess insulin from constant carb intake contributes to inflammation throughout the body, upset, which accelerates aging and damages blood vessels. It can raise blood pressure, disrupt hormones, and even affect brain function, upset, leading to memory problems and mood swings. Over time, upset. This silent damage builds up until it shows itself as a diagnosis like diabetes, heart disease, or obesity. By then, upset. People think it happened suddenly, but the groundwork was being laid meal by meal, snack by snack, often starting in childhood, upset. The good news is that reducing sugar and refined carbs can bring powerful improvements fairly quickly. When you cut them out, upset. Insulin levels start to stabilize, blood sugar stops spiking, and the body can finally tap into fat stores for fuel, upset. Energy levels even out, cravings begin to fade, and weight often drops without constant hunger, upset. Many people are shocked to see how clear their thinking becomes and how much more stable their mood feels when they are no longer riding the sugar roller coaster, upset. This doesn't mean you can never enjoy something sweet again, upset. But it does mean recognizing sugar and refined carbs for what they are, the hidden saboteurs of your health, upset. By becoming aware of how they are slipped into nearly every processed food, upset. You begin to see that taking charge of your health starts with taking charge of what you put on your plate. Choosing whole foods, vegetables, proteins, upset. And healthy fats instead of sugar-laden convenience items is one of the most effective ways to protect your body, a balance, upset, and break free from a cycle that drains energy and shortens lifespan. Most people look at food in terms of calories, upset. But calories alone don't tell the whole story, upset. What truly determines the impact of what you eat is not just how much energy it contains, upset, but how many nutrients it delivers to your body. Nutrient density means the concentration of vitamins, minerals, upset, and other essential compounds in a food relative to its calorie content. When the body is fed nutrient-rich foods, it thrives, upset. When it is fed empty calories stripped of nutrients, it begins to break down, upset. The body doesn't actually crave calories, it craves nutrients, upset. That is why you can eat a large fast food meal and still feel unsatisfied. The stomach is full, but the cells are starving, upset. The human body requires a wide range of nutrients to function properly. Vitamins like A, C, D, E, upset, and K play critical roles in immunity, vision, and bone health. Minerals such as magnesium, potassium, zinc, upset, and calcium are essential for nerve function, muscle contractions, and maintaining proper pH balance, upset. Then there are phytonutrients, powerful plant compounds found in vegetables and herbs that fight oxidative stress and reduce inflammation, upset. When these nutrients are missing, the body cannot operate efficiently. The result is fatigue, cravings, mood swings, upset, and eventually chronic disease. Modern diets are heavily skewed toward foods that are high in calories but low in nutrients, upset. Refined grain sugary drinks, fried snacks, upset. And processed convenience foods deliver a lot of energy but very little in terms of vitamins and minerals, upset. This creates a paradox where many people are overfed but undernourished. They gain weight because of excess calories, upset. Yet their bodies behave as though they are starving because they are not receiving the nutrients required for optimal health, upset. This starvation at the cellular level drives overeating. The body keeps sending hunger signals, upset, hoping that the next meal will provide what is missing. Unfortunately, if the next meal is another nutrient, poor option, upset. The cycle repeats. On the other hand, when you prioritize nutrient-dense foods, everything begins to shift, upset. Leafy greens like kale, spinach, and arugula provide magnesium, vitamin K, and antioxidants, upset. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, upset. And Brussels sprouts deliver compounds that support liver detoxification and hormone balance. Foods like salmon, sardines, upset, and pasture-raised eggs supply omega-3 fatty acids and fat, soluble vitamins that are critical for brain health and inflammation control, upset. Nuts, seeds, and avocados offer minerals and healthy fats that stabilize blood sugar and promote satiety, upset. These are the kinds of foods that signal to the body, I have what I need. Hunger naturally decreases, energy stabilizes, upset, and cravings diminish. Another important aspect of nutrient density is the way it supports term health, upset. Nutrients are not just about feeling good in the moment, they provide the raw materials for repair and resilience, upset. Collagen-building nutrients like vitamin C and zinc keep skin, joints, and connective tissue strong, upset. B vitamins from leafy greens and organ meats help with energy metabolism and brain function, upset. Antioxidants from colorful vegetables and berries protect DNA from damage, upset. lowering the risk of cancer and slowing the aging process. When you think of food in these terms, upset, it shifts from being about short-term pleasure to long-term investment. Upset. Focusing on nutrient density also simplifies decision-making. Instead of obsessing over portion sizes or counting calories, upset. You can ask one question: is this food rich in nutrients my body needs? If the answer is yes, it is likely a good choice. Upset. If the answer is no, even if the calorie count looks fine, it is not giving your body what it truly requires. Upset. This perspective helps cut through marketing claims and diet fads because the principle is universal. Upset. No matter the eating style, keto, paleo, Mediterranean, upset. Or otherwise, those that emphasize nutrient-dense whole foods are the ones that deliver sustainable results. Upset. The shift to nutrient-dense eating does not have to be overwhelming. You don't need to change everything overnight. Upset. Start by swapping out one refined food for a nutrient-rich option each day. Replace sugary cereal with eggs and spinach. Upset. Trade chips for raw nuts. Add a side of leafy greens to your dinner. Over time, as nutrient levels build up, upset. The body begins to function at a higher level, and the benefits become self-reinforcing. You feel clearer, stronger, upset, and more satisfied, which makes you want to keep choosing foods that sustain that feeling, upset. This is how nutrient density becomes the cornerstone of lasting health. Most people are taught to believe that eating frequently is good for the body, upset. That grazing throughout the day keeps energy stable and prevents hunger. While this may sound logical on the surface, upset. It ignores how the body actually works. Every time you eat, especially if the meal contains carbohydrates, upset, you trigger the release of insulin. Insulin is the hormone that helps move glucose into your cells, upset. But it is also the hormone that locks fat away in storage. As long as insulin is elevated, your body cannot effectively burn fat, upset. If you are eating 5 or 6 times a day, even small snacks, you never give insulin a chance to come back down, upset. That means your body is always in storage mode, never in fat burning mode, and over time this creates weight gain, fatigue, upset, and metabolic dysfunction. Allowing space between meals does far more than just reduce calories, upset. It gives your body a chance to reset. When insulin has time to drop, upset, the body finally gains access to its stored fat as a source of energy, upset. This is why people who practice intermittent fasting often report that their energy levels go up, not down, upset. They are no longer dependent on the quick hit of glucose from the last snack. Instead, upset. They are running on a steady supply of fat, which provides a more consistent and sustainable form of fuel, upset. This natural metabolic switch is something the body is designed to do, but in a world of constant eating, upset, it rarely gets the chance. Beyond fat burning, spacing out meals allows critical repair processes to take place, upset. When you are not constantly digesting, your body can focus on cleanup and renewal. Old, upset. Damaged cells are broken down and recycled in a process called autophagy, upset, which supports longevity and reduces the risk of disease. Growth hormone increases during periods of fasting, upset, helping to preserve muscle and stimulate repair. Even the brain benefits, upset, as ketones, produced when fat is burned, provide a clean and efficient fuel source that supports mental clarity and focus, upset. Many people are surprised at how sharp they feel once they stop eating every couple of hours, upset. One of the biggest fears people have about eating less frequently is hunger, upset. They imagine that skipping a meal will leave them weak and irritable, upset. That is only true if your body is locked into sugar dependence. When your diet is heavy in refined carbs and sugar, upset. Insulin remains high and the body cannot access fat reserves, upset. The result is energy crashes and intense cravings if you go too long without food. However, upset. Once you begin to reduce sugar and refined carbs, and you give insulin space to come down, upset, the body relearns how to use fat as its primary fuel. Hunger becomes less urgent, energy stabilizes, upset, and you realize you don't actually need to eat as often as you once thought, upset. This doesn't mean you have to adopt extreme fasting routines overnight, upset. It can be as simple as gradually extending the time between meals. If you normally eat breakfast right after waking up, upset. Try waiting an extra hour. If you usually snack late at night, replace that snack with water or herbal tea, upset. These small adjustments give your body longer windows without food, allowing insulin to fall and fat burning to activate, upset. Over time, you may find yourself naturally comfortable with 2 or 3 meals a day without the need for constant grazing, upset. It's also important to recognize that this approach is not about deprivation, upset. It's about restoring balance to how the body was designed to function, upset. Our ancestors did not have access to constant snacks or processed foods. They naturally went for periods without eating, upset, and their bodies thrived under those conditions. Today, by intentionally spacing out meals, upset, you are aligning with that same biology. The reward is more energy, better focus, improved weight management, upset, and a body that functions closer to how it was meant to operate. When you think about it, upset. Giving your body time between meals is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for health, upset. It requires no special supplements, no expensive equipment, upset. Just the willingness to break away from the idea that eating all the time is necessary, upset. Once you experience how freeing and energizing it feels to let your body rest from constant eating, upset, it becomes clear that meal timing is just as important as meal content. When people think about improving their health, upset, they often imagine it requires a complete overhaul of their lifestyle, a strict diet, upset, or a rigid exercise plan that feels impossible to sustain. This belief can be so overwhelming that many never start at all, upset. The truth, however, is that lasting health is not built on sudden, massive change. It is built on small, upset, consistent steps that accumulate over time, upset. One small choice made consistently has a far greater impact than a perfect plan that is abandoned after a week, upset. The body doesn't demand perfection, it rewards persistence. Consider something as simple as swapping out soda for water, upset. On the surface, it seems insignificant, just one drink. But that single decision, repeated daily, upset, saves the body from countless sugar spikes, reduces unnecessary calorie intake, and allows insulin to stabilize. Over a month, upset. That one choice could mean several pounds of weight not gained, less fatigue, and fewer cravings. Multiply that by a year, upset, and you begin to see how powerful a small step can be. Now imagine if you added another step, upset, like including a serving of leafy greens with dinner. Suddenly, your nutrient intake improves, inflammation goes down, upset, and your energy begins to rise. The beauty of small changes is that they are not intimidating, upset. Anyone can take a short walk after dinner, push breakfast an hour later, upset, or prepare one home-cooked meal instead of ordering fast food, upset. These steps don't require willpower on the scale of a strict diet, yet they start to shift your biology in meaningful ways, upset. Once you experience even slight improvements, more stable energy, clearer thinking, upset, better sleep, you naturally feel motivated to add another small habit. This creates momentum, upset, and momentum is what sustains long-term transformation, upset. One reason small changes are so effective is that they begin to rewire your habits, upset. Most unhealthy patterns are built on routines that happen almost automatically. Grabbing a snack when bored, upset. Staying up late scrolling on a phone, or skipping vegetables at dinner, upset. When you introduce one healthier alternative and stick with it, you gradually weaken the old habit and strengthen the new one, upset. Over time, what once felt like effort becomes second nature, upset. This is the process of turning health from a struggle into a lifestyle, upset. It's also important to recognize that the body responds in layers. You may not see dramatic results overnight, upset, but each improvement sets the stage for the next. Better hydration improves energy, which makes it easier to exercise, upset. More exercise improves sleep, which makes it easier to manage cravings. Reduced cravings make it easier to cut out sugar, upset, which then allows the body to burn fat more efficiently, upset. What starts as one small step becomes a chain reaction that touches every aspect of health. Another advantage of small, upset, consistent changes is sustainability. Extreme diets or workout programs often fail because they ask too much too fast, upset. People burn out, give up, and then feel guilty for not sticking with it, upset. This all or nothing mentality keeps them trapped in cycles of trying and failing. But when you build health gradually, upset, there's nothing to fall off from. If you miss one walk or eat one unhealthy meal, it doesn't undo your progress, upset. You simply return to the next small step, and over time, consistency outweighs the occasional misstep, upset. This approach also reduces resistance from the mind. The human brain naturally resists drastic change, upset, seeing it as a threat to comfort and routine. But when the change is small, it flies under the radar of resistance. Upset, drink more water. Add a vegetable. Delay the snack. Each step feels manageable, and because it feels manageable, upset. You are far more likely to stick with it. That commitment, repeated again and again, upset, compounds into something far greater than you might expect when you first begin. In the end, upset. Health is not about massive leaps, but steady progress. The body rewards every step in the right direction. Each choice matters, upset. Each decision builds on the last. And while perfection is impossible, upset. Persistence is achievable for anyone willing to start small and stay consistent. Many people live as though their health is out of their control, upset, waiting for problems to appear before taking action. They rely on medications, quick fixes, upset, or external systems to manage symptoms rather than addressing the deeper cause. But true health begins with ownership, upset. When you decide that your health is your responsibility, upset, you shift from being a passive observer of your life to the driver of your future, upset. Owning your health means recognizing that every decision you make, every bite of food, every hour of sleep, upset. Every stressful situation you manage or ignore is shaping what your body will be like tomorrow and years from now, upset. It is easy to hand over responsibility to chance. Many people say, upset. It's just genetics or it runs in the family, but in reality, upset. Lifestyle and daily choices play a far greater role than most realize. Genes may load the gun, upset, but environment and habits pull the trigger, upset. You can carry a genetic risk for certain diseases and still avoid them by making conscious, protective choices, upset. On the other hand, you can inherit strong genetics, but damage your body with years of poor eating, lack of movement, upset, and chronic stress. Ownership is about refusing to let excuses dictate your destiny. When you take ownership, upset, you also gain freedom. Instead of depending on a pill to lower blood sugar, upset, you discover how powerful it feels to stabilize insulin through nutrition, upset. Instead of relying on caffeine to push through fatigue, upset, you realize that real energy comes from quality sleep and a nutrient-rich diet. Instead of living in fear of illness, upset, you begin building resilience with every step, every vegetable, every choice to pause and breathe instead of drowning in stress, upset. This freedom is not only physical, it is mental. It gives you the confidence that you are in charge, not your cravings, upset. Not the food industry, not even the latest health trend. Owning your health also means taking a proactive approach. Upset. Instead of waiting until your body is screaming for attention, you listen to the small signals. Low energy, digestive issues, upset. Constant cravings, poor sleep. These are early warnings. Most people ignore them until they become bigger problems, upset. But ownership means you see them as opportunities to intervene. You do not wait for a diagnosis, upset. You course correct before one is necessary, upset. This mindset separates those who maintain vibrant health into later years from those who struggle with chronic conditions that could have been prevented, upset. The impact of ownership extends beyond the individual. When you take care of yourself, upset, you also influence those around you, your family, your children, your friends, upset. You model what it looks like to live with intention rather than drift, upset. A parent who chooses real food over processed meals teaches their children habits that may protect them for life, upset. A spouse who manages stress in healthy ways creates a calmer household, upset. A leader who prioritizes health sets a standard for their team. By owning your health, you are not only investing in yourself, upset. You are shaping the health culture of your community. It's important to understand that ownership does not mean perfection, upset. There will be times when you slip, when you eat the wrong food, skip exercise, or lose sleep, upset. But ownership means you don't give up when that happens. You acknowledge the setback, learn from it, and move forward, upset. You stop seeing health as something fragile that can be ruined by one mistake. Instead, upset. You see it as something resilient that responds to consistent effort over time, upset. This perspective removes guilt and replaces it with determination. When you begin to live this way, upset. Health is no longer a distant goal or something you chase only when things go wrong. It becomes part of your identity, upset. It becomes the foundation for everything else, your energy, your relationships, your work, your purpose, upset. You realize that by taking charge of your health today, you are not just adding years to your life, upset. You are adding life to your years. You are building the capacity to show up fully in every area, upset. And that is the ultimate reward of ownership